Hello again. Uh, Not a great deal of progress, I'm afraid, building-wise, but there's a bit of an update regarding the Conquest Reforged 6000 block update, the most recent update, and Ardercraft merge combined. Basically, good news and bad news. Good news is I got it to work and run the game, and managed to run the game. And bad news is it doesn't really play nicely with this map. There is a thing that you have to do. You have to convert your map as well. You run this converter thing, and I did that seemingly successfully. But unfortunately, I think they've changed a lot of the block IDs and all the rest of it. And well, it didn't come out looking like this anyway. Pretty much sticks for all your, you got fence posts instead of chiseled bits, kind of manipulated blocks and all the rest of it. So it was a bit of a fail on that, which is unfortunate. How I did it was I went googling stuff, because the error that I got instead of the game actually loading was relative to basically Java running out of memory. And as you probably know, you can set your Java arguments in the Minecraft launcher. You can set them to allocate more RAM to Minecraft, more memory. And I'd done that. I've got 4 gig. It's a little bit excessive, but I got 8 gig of RAM on this laptop, so I figured 4 gig, give it a whirl, and that it's generally been fine up to this point. But it was not apparently enough for for running this new Conquest update. But I figured I'd have a look. I can't remember what it's called now. When you monitor the performance, you can pretty much live how much of your resources are being used by certain applications. For the life of me, I can't remember what it's called. So, excuse me for being an idiot. But yeah, I had that running, and while trying to run the game with this new Conquest update, and it was only showing about 3.3 gig of memory being used as a total, and so that didn't really seem to make sense to me that I was running out of memory, and I got 4 gig allocated. So that was a bit of a quandary. I was thinking, well, I'll go and have a look for some answers. So popped onto Google and found a few bits and bobs, and essentially what I did was to go into advanced system settings. This is Windows 10 I'm on. I don't know if it's different for other versions, but went into advanced system settings and then clicked on the environment variables tab, and then you find there's 2 windows when you go into there, and the lower one had got at the top of the options there was something called Java options, and that had basically dash XMX 2G. So despite running 4 gig or having 4 gig allocated for Minecraft, I thought basically I'll just change it to 4G instead of 2G, and yeah, it seemed to work. The thing ran. I mean, that Java options thing might not be there for you. It was there. I sort of implemented it when setting up the Eclipse workspace to try making a mod. So you have to have a little look into that one for yourselves, because I'm just feeling my way on most of these things, and generally Google's your friend. You can find out answers to most of this sort of stuff. So you've got a kind of basic framework to conduct a search around in terms of clues, but I can't give you the absolute long and short of it, because I don't know myself. But yeah, I just changed Java options to XMX 4G, and it ran. But unfortunately, I think, like I say, they've changed a lot of the block IDs. Oh, night has fallen. Very good. I can't type and walk and talk, so sorry. I'll just pop it back today. Thank you very much, sir. Right, yeah, so I think they changed a lot of the block IDs, and with all these other mods I've got running, they don't really play nicely together, which is unfortunate. But I did get it working, and if you have an issue with things running out of memory, despite you having a good chunk of it allocated, that could be a way around it. So just to let you know on that one. I didn't forget to mention last time, I didn't have much success making my own mod from scratch with the Eclipse workspace and all of the other drama involved, but I did use Mcreator, which you might have heard of, but it's just you can download a version for your particular version of Minecraft, and it's not perfect, but it kind of cuts out a lot of the having to learn Java thing, and you can get a few basics into the game at least, and some more advanced things as well. But what I forgot to mention last time is I managed to get horizontal masonry on this on these diagonals rather than vertical, which I had previously. You might be able to see from other videos. You can see on these plinths and stuff, it's kind of the coursing of the masonry is going horizontally, kind of like it should do. Whereas previously, excuse me, it was going vertically. So that's a small success story at least. I think it looks a little bit better in general. I'll show you some of these other bits and bobs in a sec. But basically, I'll just F1, and it's quite a pain in the behind to explain. But you essentially, I always get very confused with this. Right, there we are. Get it together, man. Come on, can do it. We can do it. Okay, shift click. Yo, no, not zoom. Zoom again, really? Okay, I had some massive fails there, so as a cut, I just cut things to cut some of that terribleness out of the middle. But you can see here how this is how they were originally. So I shift clicked blocks like so to place them, holding shift and then placing the block. It's a bit more difficult if you're flying, hence why I sort of disappeared down the terrain there, but yeah, you can see that that's pretty much how things were. If you're using shift click to make diagonals before, then that's how the masonry looks, which was I found it detracted a little bit from the general appearance of the building. But now you can see these shift clicked diagonals, the masonry, although not perfect because we don't have the connected textures running with the modified blocks, but hey, it's better in general terms from a distance. It's got more of the look. It looked a little bit strange when you got all the masonry coursing just switching suddenly to verticals like that. So how I did that was to go into the resource packs and the mod packs using something like I use 7-zip. You can use a different program if you prefer, but I use 7-zip because it's kind of free and seems to be reasonable. So from there you find the PNG texture files that you want. They're normally just little tiny squares, so they can be a bit difficult to view. So you go into there, save those files or copy them to say your pictures file or your desktop or wherever you want them to be. You can locate them from there. And then, after that, you basically take them into an editor. It could be Paint, I guess, or I use GIMP again. It's free. Seems to be a powerful yet confusing tool. It's just so many options. But yeah, GIMP's a good one to use. And you just rotate them by 90 degrees. There's another cut because I screwed up. Yeah, it's, you can make sure you know where they're located. And then you open Mcreator. And you make a basic block, and from there you can just allocate the textures as you see fit, and it comes out with a block. You might just be able to see on here, as long as you've got them done right with the not that you poo. You can just see here I've got a block with textures running in the opposite directions. It's a little bit difficult to see, but they're essentially you're making a block with vertical textures. But you figure it like this. You take it to your saw bench, which somehow seems to have miraculously sorted out its textures. So you place said block into the saw bench, and then when it comes out, you've got these rotated textures. So instead of being this way, you can see in this block here, they're now running in this direction, sort of up and down. And then when you come to shift click placement, or i.e. placing them on their side, like so, with the 90-degree rotated textures, they come out like this. So there we are. That's what I've used Mcreator for in that sense, at least. So it's definitely quite a blessing for relatively simple stuff. And there's the odd advanced option. You can sort of do armor and guns and stuff like that. So it's quite cool. I'm nowhere near capable enough with Java to be able to actually make a mod, unfortunately. I did try and I failed miserably. But I'll show you. I've actually got my PUI diagonal slab here, which a bit confusing. This just work, please. Okay, now okay, we're going 4-4. There we go. It's I'm getting a bit confused because I've got this hotbar mod thing and I'm a bit poo with it yet. So first thing is the collision box isn't in the right place, so I'm going to have to sort of work at this to get it. There we are. Oh no, you can see the collision box is all the way over here. Don't know how to alter that. It's a complete pain in the butt. Second thing, no textures. I mean, freaking heck, I made a shape in SketchUp. I made it to a meter scale. I modeled it in SketchUp. Then basically I put that into Blender using a converter, and then I UV texture mapped it in there and baked it, and I had to get help to get it all baked in the right way because it wasn't the right. Oh, it's a real pain. And I basically used some more PNG files from Conquest to sort of chop and change some of the textures around so the blocks look nice. Okay, so sorry about that, another cut, but yeah, essentially we've got these, I adapted some of these PNG textures using the same technique that I blabbed about and waffled about before, and got this thing all set up, and yeah, it still didn't work basically. So I got, you know, there's a lot of things that you can get wrong, but yeah, I got the MTL file with the right path on it and all the rest of it, and it still just wouldn't have it. So yeah, that's as far as it's got. I'll sort of pop a little shot of it in as it looks in Blender if I can find one, which is gives you an idea of where I got to, but it wasn't working. And then obviously there's this collision box problem. Again, if you wanted to run a line of them, then I think on an actual diagonal, then you'd need a secondary piece, this a triangular piece, sort of describing that kind of line there to fit between, and then another block here, and so on and so forth. So it would be a bit of a two-piece affair, as I mentioned in the previous vid. I think it's got potential though. Mcreator doesn't really allow for rotation characteristic either, but that is changeable if you know how to code. There's tutorials out there. There's a useful fella on YouTube and on the Mcreator forum who's given a bit of a lowdown on how to do that. Didn't work for me, but that's because I'm useless. Hey, anyway, so yeah, there's nothing really about this whole collision box being outside of the actual block though. That's a real pain, so I don't know what's going on with that. So Mcreator's got its limitations, but I did actually manage to make my holy hand grenade somewhat functional, so I'll just try and throw in some footage of that at the end as well, just for the laugh. It's not perfect, but it kind of blows stuff up, unless you actually hit a mob directly, in which case it acts like an arrow, a super killimatic arrow, but it doesn't blow up. So yeah, you know, limitations, but it's sort of a bit of fun. So that's it. Anyway, yeah, sorry to waffle on for ages. I'll give you a quick tour. I've got these. I'm thinking about making this area smaller, basically. It seems to be overshadowing the main enclosure of the castle, and I don't know. I'm not too happy. I mean, this is the main event really, and I don't really want the outer yard being somehow grander. Plus, it's got to be relatively low, so it's not overlooking the inner defences. So it's turning out into this sprawling mess a little bit. So I might just rein it right back in to where these funky turrets are that I've been trying to fiddle, and make it sort of more encompassing this area with just maybe a stable block in there. I'm getting a bit annoyed with the stairs as well down there, but we'll see if we kind of get round to getting some stuff done. Still working on the car a bit. I did sort of go out here and pop this tower here to just make sure that this little outcrop was controlled. and overlooking the valley, I suppose, down below. So it has its advantages, sort of from a defensive point of view. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at really with the build. Not really very buildy, sorry. And I'd really like these to work. There's a lot of potential here, I reckon. You'll be able to sort of make some really cool stuff and go on up there. You have to have a lot more diagonal blocks to complement them, I think. It wouldn't really be just a standalone thing. But you can almost get an idea, a feel for the potential there. I just wish I could make them work properly. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of where we're at anyway. But sorry to sort of go on for so long and not really show anything for it. But I did want to explain a few things, so I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't feel like your time has been completely wasted. Anyway, beating the mic up, he says. Right, alrighty. Anyway, I'll disappear and wish you all the best in the meantime. Until such a time as I might make a freaking vid again, perhaps. Anyway, maybe try and get some real progress done first, eh? Alright, thanks for your time anyway, and all the best, as I said. Hello again, and welcome to the Mcreator test environment, thus explaining why it's the vanilla resource pack and all the rest of it. And you can see in my hand here I've got this holy hand grenade, which I actually made the model in SketchUp, and then I think I exported it to Blender, or imported it to Blender using the converter I mentioned earlier in the video, which you can find as an add-on. And then after that I imported that into Cubic Pro, and the processes in there essentially mean that the item becomes voxelized or cubified or whatever you want to call it. I think that's the term for it. So thus it goes from quite a smooth rounded shape to the shape that you can see in my hand here, and this is the end result, I guess. Now, I mean, for the processes I've mentioned, there are tutorials again out there, because I'm a moron and I found out how to do it, so I'm sure you folks probably got a bit more wherewithal than me. And if you just have a look about, then you'll find what you're looking for, rather than me attempting to explain the whole process. I'll not keep waffling too much, but yeah, it's the next thing is making the thing throwable. So yeah, just excuse me my momentary vocal seizures, but yeah, if you look up Mcreator throwable items, then you'll probably hit on a forum thread which explains how to do it. And the result isn't perfect. It's essentially using the method that Mcreator has for making a gun, and you can play about with that a little bit, and this is the result. Unfortunately, it makes a bow sound, and if you actually throw it directly at a mob, then it acts kind of like a bow / gun. So there, so it doesn't explode, which isn't so good. But if you, sorry cows, sorry about this. It's daytime. We've got nothing. So yeah, if you throw it near a mob though, then it's well, it's got a certain explosive capacity. Alright down there, mate. Sorry, I'll put you out of your misery. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, it's got explosive merits, you might say. Boom. So that is pretty much it. Bonus footage, yo. Holy hand grenade of Antioch, perhaps. Anyway, there we are. Oh, it is quite fun. So, something else for you to have a little play around with, if you so desire. Oh, I can't do the pigs, I can't. Oh, sorry, mate. Oh, yeah, too accurate. It was the first time for everything, I guess. Well, I shall leave you with that anyway. Boom. Peace, y'all.